Hujambo, brothers and sisters. Today is Sunday, November the 20th, 2016, approximately 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Coming to you live out of the criminal operation called the State of Illinois. I am your host, Yeshaya Kamenwadi, a.k.a. Eric Rice, and welcome once again to the Eric Rice Network. Well, as you know, this is the beginning of the Thanksgiving Day holiday week, okay? This is the Thanksgiving Day holiday week, okay? So you got a lot of people out here. They are preparing to get ready to have a lot of company over. They are getting their food preparations in order so they can have a fellowship with family and friends for the Thanksgiving holiday week coming up. Thanksgiving holiday coming up. But I got a couple questions that I want to ask my viewers. Please leave some comments in the comment section because I like to know what everybody is thinking. Question number one. What is your purpose behind celebrating Thanksgiving? Why do you do it? I already know what you're going to say. Well, even though I know the history of the white man and the Indian, I celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday because I enjoy being with my family. I enjoy having my family together, both far and near. I enjoy having my friends over. I enjoy the fellowship. I enjoy the food, the festivities. I enjoy the football games. Or you could say I'm thankful for my health and my strength. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my job, my home, and all other sorts of blessings that have been bestowed upon us by our Creator. So you could say I'm thankful for that. And I understand that. But why is it that we have to have one day out of 365 days to have Thanksgiving? Another question. The other question that I have is, do you know the true history behind Thanksgiving? Do you know the origins behind Thanksgiving? Do you know that? A lot of you do, a lot of you don't. But this video is more geared towards the ones that don't. Okay? So after you watch the video, ask yourself, should I continue to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday? Should I even celebrate it at all? I can tell you one thing for sure, two things for certain. I'm not going to be celebrating it. If anything, I'm going to see if I can work some overtime. I don't give a damn about no Thanksgiving. And if you knew the history behind it, you shouldn't either. But the problem with our people is we have been so used and accustomed to being around our enemy for so long that we have begun to take the characteristics of our enemy. And we're beginning to act and behave like our enemy. And everything that our enemy does, we imitate it, including his holidays. We celebrate the white man's holidays because they celebrate it. And being the group of followers that a lot of us are, we do it because everybody else is doing it. Nobody wants to stand on their own 2 feet and say, the hell with Thanksgiving. I ain't celebrating no death. Because that's exactly what you're celebrating. You're celebrating the death and destruction of a group of individuals. A whole race. You very seldom see a Native American around here. Very seldom. You got to go way out west to see them. And there's only a handful of them left. So, for those of you who like to celebrate death, I think that's kind of sick. That's exactly what you're celebrating. I bet you don't see no Native Americans celebrating no Thanksgiving. That'd be like the so-called Jews celebrating Hitler and Nazi Germany. Ain't that ass backwards? They wouldn't do that. You won't find a Native American that celebrates Thanksgiving. That's tantamount to America celebrating 9/11. When September the 11th come around, let's throw a party. Does that sound right to you? That's crazy, right? So that's what you're doing. You're celebrating death. You celebrating the death and destruction of an entire race. That's what you're celebrating. Do y'all know the history behind Thanksgiving? Let's start. Now, everybody knows about the Pilgrims. Everybody knows about Plymouth Rock. We're going to get into that in a minute. But let's start before Plymouth Rock. Why is it that the Pilgrims wanted to come over here to the New World anyway? What was their purpose behind coming over here? I'll tell you, for those who don't know. In England at that time, you had two religious groups. Okay, you had the Protestants and you had the Catholics. And at this particular time in history, Catholicism ruled the day in England. And anything other than Catholicism could cost you your life, more or less. It could cost you your life. And so in order to flee persecution, you had a group of people who are known today as the Pilgrims. They decided to leave and go somewhere that were a little bit more hospitable to their religious dogma. So when they left England, before they came to the New World, they spent a little time in Holland. And then eventually they left Holland, went back to England, and fled for America. So basically they left England, Europe, came to America because they want freedom to be religious or be able to worship the way they wanted to, because they couldn't do it over there. They wanted their freedom to do their religion the way they wanted to do it. So, and they knew they couldn't do that there. So, on September the 6th, 1620, approximately 41 pilgrims, their families, and approximately 15 servants, 102 people total, boarded the Mayflower. And they landed in Plymouth Rock on December the 26th, 1620. Okay? When the boat hit the land, they had the big rock there. And they jumped on top of the rock, and then they landed on the ground. That was the Pilgrims. That's the way they entered the New World. So you had to figure December the 26th, that's the middle of the winter. It was freezing cold. They had not a clue as to how they were going to survive in the New World. They had no clue how they were going to survive the cold snow, the blizzard, how they were going to feed themselves, how they were going to clothe themselves, how they were going to provide a roof for themselves. They had no clues how to do that. The only thing that they knew was they want the freedom to praise and worship the way they want to. Okay? They wanted that freedom, and they were willing to do whatever they could to do so. Okay, so they left England to come to the New World just for that purpose, that particular purpose. A lot of them, once they arrived in the New World, a lot of them didn't make it. Matter of fact, I believe half of the people that arrived on Plymouth Rock did not survive. They did not survive at all. Okay. They were so destitute. They were so destitute that and hungry and starving that when someone died, a lot of them resorted to cannibalism. That's right. They resorted to cannibalism in order to sustain themselves. But they want to call our people savages. And they want to call our people cannibals. No, they were the original cannibals, brothers and sisters. You know that. And the ones that did survive, they would not have survived that long if it had not been for a group of hospitable Native Americans who came across their path and saw them living in shambles. Okay? I'm quite sure that our Native American brothers and sisters, if they knew what was in store for them, that they probably would have killed them as soon as they landed. as soon as they found out about them, as soon as they crossed their path. They probably would have killed them, and today you will have millions of Native Americans around here. But they didn't know. They did not know what they had in store for them, and they were by nature, just like all melanated people, by nature, hospitable, and they're kind, and and they want to help people that are in need by nature. Okay, so when they saw the struggling white man, their families, they immediately showed them and helped them survive the winter. They showed them how to plant corn, showed them how to hunt, showed them how to make clothes, showed them how to sustain a reasonable roof over their heads to help them survive the winter. They showed them all these things. All these things. Now, the original Thanksgiving Day, a lot of people don't know this. The original Thanksgiving Day was July the 30th, 1621, because that was the day where the harvest came in, okay? And now the pilgrims can eat, okay? The starving pilgrims can finally sit down to a full course meal, vegetables. And they had, of course, turkey, wild turkeys, and they had the deer. They ate off that. So because that was the harvest time, the original Thanksgiving date was July the 30th, 1621. How they managed to switch it to November, I'm not for sure. But that was the original Thanksgiving date. But think about this right here. And they were thankful, obviously, for surviving the winter. They were thankful for surviving the winter, and they were able to sustain themselves thanks to the Native American brothers and sisters. They were able to sustain themselves through that winter. So it goes without saying, without the assistance of our red brothers and sisters, they would not have made it. They would not have made it. They would have all died off. They would have all died off, and their efforts would have been in vain. But how did they repay our red brothers and sisters? How did they repay them? They repaid them by killing them off, slaughtering them, giving them blankets with smallpox and chicken pox and all that stuff, type of mess. That's terrible. That is really terrible. And also, for you people that watch sports on that day, do you know where that concept came from? That concept came from the white people taking the Indian and cutting their heads off. Literally. Cutting their heads off and using their head as a ball and kicking it around for sport because they were so bored. They were so bored that they decided to go kill people and cut their heads off and use them for balls. So that's where that concept came from of sports on Thanksgiving Day. So everything I said, is that really something to celebrate? Really? Is that something that you want to celebrate? No, not me. I don't want to celebrate no mess like that. That's sickness and that's madness. So once again, it goes back to what I was saying. When you celebrate this particular holiday, you're celebrating death and you're celebrating the destruction of another race of people. Whether you realize it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, you are celebrating the death and destruction of another race of people. That is what you're celebrating. So I'm going to leave you with this right here. Because I know y'all not going to listen. Y'all going to do what you want to do anyway. When you're sitting down around the table during Thanksgiving and stuffing your face with dressing and turkey and cranberry sauce, you think about what the red brothers and sisters had to go through. You think about that while you're stuffing your face with all that good food. Quiet here. I'm gone. Peace.